Hello, and welcome to the Erie County District Attorney's Office, a weekly YouTube video. I am Erie County District Attorney, and this week I want to talk a little bit about a very important case that came out of the Court of Appeals, which is the New York State's highest court in the past 2 weeks here, just recently. It was a case called Stevens versus the Division of Criminal Justice Services, DCJS. DCJS is an agency within the New York State government that basically handles various criminal justice matters regarding issues and monies and grants and various policies pertaining to law enforcement throughout the state of New York. And Stevens was an individual, I believe he had a brother as well, or another family member. They were individuals who were caught up previously in the criminal justice system. They didn't have any particular case going on right now. They were just two people who had prior matters that they apparently got convicted for. And whenever any individual in New York State is convicted of a crime, they have to provide a DNA sample. And so there is a database in New York State, and it pretty much works the same way all across the country. Every state has their own rules and regulations on who exactly has to submit a sample, but just for general purposes, the rule is that anyone who's convicted of a crime, whether they are found guilty or plead guilty, has to provide a DNA sample. And their sample now goes into a database. So some of you may know about the Golden Gate killer, the murders that were out in California. That case was solved using a technique called familiar DNA. Not familiar as in familiar, I know someone, but familiar as in family member familiar. So we know what it does basically is that it allows law enforcement, when they get a known sample, to compare it to the database and to see if anyone in the database may be related to the sample that they took from a crime scene. So just for example here, let's say that there's a sexual assault, and let's say that some DNA is taken or found on a piece of clothing of the victim. That DNA now is put into the database, and let's say it's not a full match, but a partial match of Joe Smith. And we can tell that the person's probably related to Joe Smith. Well, what this can do is that it allows investigators to go track down Joe Smith and find out, hey Joe, did you happen to be in Buffalo, New York on November 1st of 2023, the date of the crime? And Joe will say, no, but you know what? I've got a nephew who lives in Buffalo. So now we can perhaps look at his nephew now as a potential suspect. So in a nutshell, and again, I'm doing this in layman's terms, obviously. That's how this is used. The First Department Appellate Court in New York State, which is down in New York City, ruled that process, that procedure, is against the Constitution of the state of New York, that it's unlawful, that the legislature did not prescribe the rules on familiar DNA, and only DCJS and the Forensic Science Commission did it, and they can't do it. It's got to come from the legislature. They ruled that it was illegal to do that. Our Court of Appeals, the highest court in the state of New York, overturned and reversed that conviction. So now, all of us here in law enforcement has the ability to use this tool. And for those of you out there listening right now, there's no need to be worried, all right? We're not going through your garbage cans. We're not going through your emails. Big Brother is not looking over you at all right? All we are doing is taking a sample from a victim of a crime, and putting that into a known database of convicted criminals and trying to find a partial match and a lead to perhaps a relative of who may have done this crime. Helping victims, helping the community, helping to solve crimes. And it can also be used to exonerate individuals as well. So there is nothing to be worried about out there. This is not Big Brother having more power at all. This is just a tool to help us keep you, the viewers out there, safe. And that's what I'm here to do, and all DAs across the state are here to do each and every day. We'll see you next week.